YouTube, what is up? We are back with day 134 on our quest to clean 405, and we got a speed buster Thursday for you. We're gonna hit some single leg drops into some broad jumps, some deficit snatches, some clean and jerks, and then we got our upper body ripper, arms for moms, baby. Look at that. For some bench, skull crushers, curls, and then we're going to finish with some reverse hypers just to get that back feeling good for Send It Friday tomorrow. Just finished a podcast up with Dozer, and I'm fucking pumped to get this one out to you guys. He's such a good fucking dude and so fucking smart when it comes to the Olympic lifting. I had the pleasure of training with him. I had no idea who he was before this. I talked about this on the podcast. A lot of my Olympic lifting buddies hate me for this story, but I had no idea who he was. I was just supposed to lift with Tim Riley that day. We're going to max out some snatches and cleans together, and he's like, I got a surprise for you. I get there, and Dozer's in the gym. All the lights are off, the music's off, and he's snatching 330 pounds, and that's the first thing I walk into at this gym session with no idea who this dude is. I'm like, this motherfucker's gonna snatch more than we clean and jerk today, and he proceeded to do that. And I was kind of hooked to his content from that moment. It's a very much a real life prove it moment, and he earned that goddamn follow. But we have that training session posted somewhere on our page if you guys want to go watch that. We'll have the podcast posted not this Monday, but the Monday after. We have Roman Jiu-Jitsu coming on this Monday. That was a banger of a podcast too. And then there was like a 3-month period where I was actually running Dozer's dog pack. I don't even know if he knew I was running it or not. And I kept his name out to the videos. He was the Phantom Olympic lifting coach because I didn't want people getting his programs for free. But we made a bunch of progress on that program. We were crushing it for a while. And honestly, that was the last thing I was doing up until dog pack closed down. We kind of committed to the end of the year of training like Dozer. So I was taking the way that he programmed and kind of just waived it for myself. And now we're at the velocity-based program that we're at. But I've known of Dozer for all of maybe 6 months, and he's been a huge inspiration and honestly help in the Olympic lifting world, and I'm excited for you guys to listen to that podcast. And we're gonna hit some snatches and some clean and jerks in honor of him. Let's freaking go. All right, so we just finished our warm-ups, hit all of our mobility stuff that we've been doing. I'm putting my whole mobility routine and a lot of the Olympic lifting flexibility, mobility type stuff that I've been doing on the Insider this coming Saturday. So if you're an Insider, look out for that. It'll be in the resource tab there, but you'll have my entire mobility routine that I've been doing every single day this year. And I'm gonna try to do it before every session this year, just because I've been noticing a massive improvement already. And then some mobility stuff for the front rack and overhead position that I've been doing for the ollies specifically. Or I guess front rack could be stuck at front squatting as well. They can be helpful there. But if you're an Insider, that'll be posted this weekend. Go to the resource tab, look at that. If you're not an Insider, the question is, why aren't you? But we got these single leg drops into a broad jump here. We finished up that mobility, the body, the knees are feeling that 405 squat from yesterday. And our first 3 series of jumps here were not amazing. So we didn't even put a cone out there to hurt our feelings. But the whole goal of these is movement quality and trying to be springy off the ground and get a couple more plyometric touches throughout the week. I've been hitting hops and a plyo series in our warm up as well, just to build up those ankles. I think it's gonna make a big difference this program and making everything feel better. So that's what we're touching on here. This is our 4th set of 2 each leg. Let's go. Ooh. 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 Boom. All right, let's get some snatches. All right, now we got these deficit snatches here. Kind of a little bit of an unlock, but I've been thinking slower and more relaxed because you have way longer to pull on these instead of rushing it. And my velos have been going up. So like thinking slower and smoother has led to much better velos in the warm-ups for these deficit snatches than what I was doing last week, where I was really I just wasn't getting in good positions because my timing was all fucked up. I went from going from the blocks to like below the blocks, and it just felt like when I triggered, like it was just so much wasted and dissipated energy. So right now I'm thinking really, really long and slow pull. And I shouldn't say slow, but like not a Yankee pull, like I'm accelerating the bar through that entire pull and really trying to feel that acceleration, then getting underneath it. We got 4 sets of 2 here, trying to stay in that 2-7 to 3-0 zone in this speed buster day. We'll answer some Q&As today. We'll get some clean and jerk today. We'll get some bench press today. Today should be a good day. Let's go. Oh, those felt a little goofy. And I'm destroyed my shin again. I'm on permanent scars there. Let's check the speed on those. I might have to go just a little bit more, but maybe that's just that long feel I'm not used to. Oh, okay, see, those are pretty good. Those are both at a 273, which was better than last week. I think I got a little bit more juice in there. I think I focused on the skis just a little bit too much. Let's get the second set here. Ooh. Ooh. Those felt good. Feels really connected right now. There we go, 279. Let's freaking go. That's a good one, baby. Ugh. Damn, these are so deceiving. That, like, it feels so slow, but I'm accelerating the bar and staying connected to the bar, and that was the best set. That was a 275 and a 277 on those two. That's banging, let's go. I think I'm gonna answer some quick Q&As, and then I got maybe a longer one I'll do today, or maybe I'll do that a different. We'll see how what the feel of this video is. But the first one I wanna answer is my thoughts on kettlebell cleans and snatches transferring to barbell lifts. Clifton Harsky is gonna make fun of me for this and probably troll me on Instagram. I fucking love that dude. That dude's a fucking monster. It just seems like a fucking hilarious guy. Had him on the podcast, super, super smart. Knows what he's doing. If he's doing something, he's doing it for a reason. Personally, I think kettlebell cleans and kettlebell snatches are kind of gay. If you're not doing them just for the sake of like you enjoying kettlebell snatches or you enjoying kettlebell cleans, I think if you're doing them for some sort of transfer, you can just do it in so many better ways. Stay barbell for the most part. That's not to say they can't be like an accessory lift or something fun to work on like shoulder mobility or just a good movement challenge, but I think having that be your main stimulus and pretending like you're getting a lot of good power production or strength work or anything like that done there is a kind of poor argument. I would use it more as my movement challenge, more as some of my accessory lifts, maybe even a warm-up to get our athletes overhead, get our athletes moving in awkward weights. But to actually push any form of stimulus, I think you're just so much better off just doing regular fucking Olympic lifts. And I don't think like a kettlebell snatch or a kettlebell clean is gonna be that much easier to teach than a barbell snatch or a barbell clean. I think to learn how to snatch or clean, you're gonna have to do it with a barbell regardless at one point. It's not like it's gonna be a great transitionary tool. So why don't we just start with a barbell and start with the thing that you can learn with and start just light there and then build up to something that we can actually use long term rather than treating that as some sort of magical exercise, right? So I think they're kind of overrated. Doesn't mean I would never do them. I would just do them more as an accessory or a movement challenge for my athletes, right? So let's get this 4 set here. Oh, hell yeah. We got up to a 293 there. We were just starting to cook on those snatches. The body was feeling a little bit better. I didn't have max out Friday. Tomorrow, I'd probably add a little bit more weight there, do a couple more sets just because we're continuing to increase speed. But right now, the goal is just to get a little bit of a sweat today and prepare for tomorrow after those sets on the squats yesterday. Let's get these clean and jerks. Now we got clean and jerks, just getting some jerk touches in, continue to build this up. We get some speed cleans in while we're doing this. I think we gotta stay between a 2.1 and a 2.43. Last week we were on the bottom end of that. Like this 225 just was not moving super great when I was turning into that jerk. So I'm gonna try and be a little bit more explosive with these, get this bar moving. Keeping it light again, because we got heavy ass cleans tomorrow, just trying to get that twitch-like feel while developing some jerk work. Let's go. Damn. That jerk reset is still tough. Yeah, goddamn. We did not move that very fast. We're at a 2-1 there for our initial clean. We gotta light the fuck up. What are we doing? Second set here. Come on. Ooh. Damn, that overhead position sucks right now. Better, moved it out of 2-2. Still super slow from the ground, that's crazy. 2 more sets here. All right, before we hit this 3rd set here, I was asked a question, what are some of my ankle health exercises? And honestly, I got a little bit of a foot fetish. I love training the ankle. I think there's so many cool things that you can do with it, especially that aren't traditionally done. Obviously, you can start as basic as like fucking calf raises and build those babies up and like load them heavy. And that will be better than 50% of people's trainings when it comes to their ankles, because most people just aren't doing anything for their ankles, right? Calf raises, solid. But the thing with the ankle is that it moves in a ton of different ranges of motion and is required to do a ton of different things. So how about instead of just regular calf raises, we do some lateral calf raises where we're leaning against the wall. We hit a calf raise there. We're hitting them with our toes in, our toes out, our toes elevated. How about we train that ankle in a ton of different ranges of motion and load it up? If you got stiff ankles, I don't think there's anything better than just like holding a deep ass squat and really prying yourself into that squat position. In the mobility guidelines that I'm putting up on the Insider, we do a 2-minute calf stretch where we're just going into super deep dorsiflexion and leaning forward and feeling that calf and Achilles stretch out. That's been feeling money. And then obviously a ton of plyometrics. If you want your ankles to be reactive and built up, you gotta train them to be reactive and springy off the ground. So hops in place, jump rope if you wanna go as basic as that. Side to side hops, again, training it in all these different ranges of motion. Every Tuesday, Thursday, we have hops at the end of our program. One, to flush the system, but also it's one of the best things you can do to build up those ankles after all the other ankle work that we do, right? So there's a ton of different ways to train the ankles. They're actually super fun to train if you look at them. Don't get lost in the sauce. Having good ankles isn't gonna make you an S-tier athlete. Typically, The most elite thing about elite athletes' ankles and foot region is their Achilles attachment point, and you can't change that. So it's not gonna suddenly make you jump 20 inches higher, but it might increase your vertical. It might make you feel a little bit more springy off the ground. And most importantly, if you're a team sport athlete, it'll allow you to cut, get tackled, fall on the ground without spraining your ankles all the time. And if you're missing less games because of that, all that ankle training was worth it. That's what I do to train healthy ankles. That's how I like to train healthy ankles. Train them in a ton of different ways, train them often, train them with some jumps, train them with some plyos, train them with some hops, and load those babies up in a multitude of ways. All right, let's get this third set here. Let's move this freaking bar. Let's stop sucking. There we go, that was a better jerk. Clean still sucked. Clean did put us at a 2-2-4 there though, so that's a little better. A little less shitty. Let's hit one more set here. Ooh. Woo! Damn, we feel pretty neurally fatigued today, not gonna lie, and a little bit psychologically fatigued from wanting to move that bar fast. Those were pretty wimpy reps. Not super focused, not super dialed. I like the snatches a little bit better, but even those just did not feel great today. And that last rep was slow as shit. That was not ideal. Let's go get to the bench press. Let's go get a win today. Now we got 3 sets of 5 rep max here on the bench press. Got bodied at 255 last week. Like we were averaging like a 0.48 to a 0.49, and we want to stay above a 5 here. So the goal is to build up to that. And we're gonna go 225, 245, crush 245, base our last set off that 245. And if we're crushing 245, as long as we're above a 0.5, we're gonna go to that 255, and we're gonna shit on that number today. The wrist is really not loving life right now. The only thing that really I have felt this with is bench press. Like I have not felt it in my Olympic lifts or even in my swings, but it's definitely from my swing. It's like the same motion, but does not love being cranked back right now. So we got our makeshift wrist strap here out of a wrap. We're gonna tighten this baby, make a little tourniquet, and then we're gonna rip this weight. Last week we averaged this at a 0.6. I wanna stay above that this week. Let's go. Woo! Come on, baby. Oh yeah. There we go, 0.62. That's a little slight improvement, especially with how the wrist is feeling right now. Again, we're going a little bit lighter on this bench press for the first couple weeks. I think we should probably stay in the 0.3. You probably want to work up to the 0.3 range eventually with the bench press. But our goal here, be nice and explosive with the bench press, just because we haven't done it in a while. And I don't want to have DOMs for the next 12 days. So this is only week 2 of benching within probably close to the last year. And we're going to build that up. But I also think there could be some sweet gains in just throwing an explosive bench around, especially when you haven't done it a ton. So we're gonna mess around with that for a little bit. Next week, we'll probably drop down to a 0.45 on our bench press variation for weeks 3 and 4. Then honestly, we'll probably build ourselves to like a 0.4, 0.35 and continue to progress that way. Next week, we'll still be 5 rep maxes. And then weeks 5 and 6, we'll drop to a 3 rep max and just work in different variations there. So let's hit this 245, let's go. Come on, baby. There we go. Average of 0.55 with that 245. Now we gotta go 255. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. I dropped off from 225 to 245, like almost a 0.5. So that would put us right at a 5 with this 255 this week. It's right where we want to be. And a slight improvement on last week. And I think if we give it just a little bit more intent, we shut our brain off with this wrist. Wrist is kind of hurting, so I'm kind of bailing on a couple reps, but I think we can get it good. Let's go, baby. Set a PR here. Come on. Rip these smelling salts and go. Come on. Woo! Come on. Boo! 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 That's gotta be it. Come on. That's gotta be it. Woo! Let's go. We survived right on the nuts. 0.50. We got the second rep at a 5.8. That's pretty good. But then our last rep was a 4.3. Not as good. But that's pretty sickening. That's a good win for today. Let's freaking go. Let's hit some arms and get out of here. Now we're finished up with these arms for moms here. Next question I want to answer was my top 3 favorite energy drinks. And I'm going to start with my 3rd place energy drink, which is Go Citrus. And we're going to go with our 2nd place energy drink, which is also Go Citrus. And we're going to finish with my 1st place S tier energy drink, which is also Go Citrus. If you're not drinking Go Citrus, you are wrong. I need them to sponsor me eventually. That'd be the goal. I fucking consume the shit out of some Go Citruses. Ugh. Woo! Those are good. Let's do some triceps. All right, now we're gonna rip these triceps. We used the dumbbells for the curls today, so we're gonna use the barbell for the triceps today. We got 2 sets of 8 tricep extensions here. And with that, that means I answer another Q&A question. And this one was, what's my favorite plyo to do? And the answer is the fun plyo that we have planned that day. I just love freaking movement challenges, man. I love different ways to jump, different ways to move my body, and like how quickly can I pick something up, how quickly can I progress something. So if you watch this channel, you know when I pitch my jump variations, when I pick my plyo variations, I stick with them for like 2 to 3 weeks and then I pick a different one, and in those 2 to 3 weeks I'm really trying to peak and like get a little PR there and get a little dopamine hit, and then we go to the next one, because the only thing that matters with the plyos and the jumping is that you're doing plyos and jump with high intent for a long period of time, and that's how you're gonna jump high and be poppy. So my favorite plyo is the one that we're doing that day, baby. I'm gonna move this here for a better camera angle. Let's rip. Let's go. Feeling pumped. Finish up with these reverse hypers and get out of here. Now we got these reverse hypers, 2 sets of 15, just taking care of that spine, getting some traction on it before we send it tomorrow. The last question I want to answer today are what are my go-to assessments for my clients and athletes when they come in for the first day or first week? And my go-to assessment is, how do they walk in the building? How do they interact with people? How do they interact with me? Can they figure out how to get in the door without having to text me to do so? Can they interact with athletes by themselves without having me forcing the introduction or forcing them to talk? Can they play in the games and pick up the games quickly and understand their role on the team that they're playing that day? Can they follow the workouts without having me look over the shoulder the entire time? Like, these are all the things that I look for assessment-wise. All the physiological things we just take care of in our program. This whole fucking point of having a good program is that you take care of all their physiological needs. But in this day and age, what the athletes struggle with is that fucking psychological side, that life side. Being able to be confident in their own bodies, being able to be confident in their own skins. And that's what I look for when the athletes come in for the first week, and look at how can I challenge that and how can I make them grow in that setting, because the program's gonna take care of all the physiological stuff that we work on, right? So let's finish up with these reverse hypers, 2nd set of 15 here, let's go. Oh, there we go. All right, good little primer for tomorrow's Send It session. I appreciate you guys watching. If you like this channel, if you like what we're talking about, if there's something that resonated with you, you can leave a comment. It'd be super helpful. Keep chopping wood, baby.